You brought up Shannon Moore being innovative, and when I think of innovation, another guy you brought up, I think of Shane Helms, Gregory Helms, the Hurricane, because
Hmm.
his moves, like I know moves don't really mean that much, but when you're a young fan and you start seeing things like the Vertebreaker, you're like, what is this? What in the world is
Yeah,
happening? You know what I mean?
absolutely.
What
Yeah.
was it like with him early on and as time went on?
It's we were all, you got to understand that with Omega, everybody in Omega were innovators. I'm an innovator, massive
Yeah.
innovator. Just and we're all creative, and we all had moves, and we all had names for every one of our moves, and it kind of got on a lot of commentators' nerves because it's not a springboard moonsault, it's a megahertz. It's different moves. Name every move they had a name for it, and I had a name for every one of my unique moves or whatever. That's just the way it was.
Mhm.
And so when somebody would come up with a move, we just respect it. Okay, so and so got a new move. When I went to NWA Wildside, that was the first place that I ever had been where everybody was innovative. And but other than that, any innovation that I've ever seen came through Omega. And even today in pro wrestling, there's a lot of moves that are done on TV that have been stolen from Omega guys and NWA Wildside
Yeah.
guys. And Sal Renaro is one of those guys that moves are just stolen from
Mhm.
because there were WWE Wildside and Omega wasn't big to the world, but it was big to a lot of wrestlers, and a lot of them would watch that and they would take moves from there, and then you see your move on TV and you'd be like, did that doing so and so's doing a move looks just like mine. And I never wanted to be like stole my move or whatever until I was in the presence of some WWE wrestlers, and they told me, they was like, man, we'd be on the bus and we'd be watching y'all in NBA Wild Side tapes, and that's my move, and it told to my face, and so it's legit. We changed the world, man. And then you would get somewhere and you can't use that move because somebody's doing it, but it's like I invented the move. Like,
That, that's got to be where it gets tough because on one hand it's a compliment, right? And it shows like
yeah,
how talented you are that people are want to steal that from you. And on the other hand, it's wrestling. There's only so many moves where people are going to take stuff. On the other hand,
yeah.
if you're making it and it's your like calling card and then you can't use it, that's
It's sometimes it's frustrating, mostly because of the fact there was a huge part in the early 2000s where it's not the person that invented it, it's the person that did it on TV first.
yeah.
And that's where a lot of frustration gets in because you think, oh, I have the move that's gonna, and, a move's not gonna make you, but you see the diamond cutter or whatever, and I have my own version of the diamond cutter or whatever, and I have my triple. I never would steal moves. I would take moves I like and make them my own.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So instead of doing the diamond cutter, I did thermal shock, which is a diamond cutter, but instead of landing on my back, I landed on my stomach.
Yep.
I was a huge fan of the Three Amigos, but instead of doing three suplexes, I did three Northern Light suplexes. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
You
I
take
would
in
take it and put
twists.
it, yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of like what we did. But other wrestlers, they would just verbatim just take the move, period, and just do it on TV, and then you see, oh my God, it's the greatest move I've ever seen. And then you'll say something like, well, yeah, that was my move, and they'd be like, yeah, but look at where you're doing it. Only 20 people saw it. Like, you know what I mean?
Ugh.